How living with less can actually make families happier. We want to give our children everything, but are we actually giving them too much? Consumerism feels like it's at an all-time high, so it's really not sustainable for us to keep buying so much stuff. Not only does it clutter up our personal lives, but also the world simply cannot put up with all the trash we create. So perhaps to be better environmental stewards, we should consider how to start living with less. Some families have been practicing minimalism for years, and they could be onto something because there are a ton of benefits to cutting down on what we own. Not only is there an environmental benefit to consuming less, but research shows that buying and owning fewer items also saves us money and helps us lead happier, healthier lives. Having children may make it seem harder to implement minimalism. Kids seem to require so much stuff, but decluttering is actually beneficial to them as well. Here are 18 reasons why less is definitely more these days. Safer for everyone. If there's too much clutter in a house, it can become a tripping or choking hazard for both children and pets. Plus, the more stuff a family has, the harder it can be to keep clean, which could lead to a buildup of dust or even mold. The less we have, the safer and healthier it is for us all, really. Better for mental health. According to the New York Times, researchers from UCLA found that moms who had to spend time dealing with belongings had increased stress hormone levels. It's literally bad for us to have too much stuff, and cutting down on the amount that we own can improve our daily levels of stress and anxiety. Enjoy what's already there. Ever see a kid rediscover a lost toy and have so much fun playing with it because it sort of feels new? By getting rid of the excess in our lives, we'll be able to find things that previously brought us joy that may have gotten buried or stashed away. Having less allows us to enjoy everything that's there to a fuller extent. Save money. To state the obvious, living with less means buying less and therefore saving money. With inflation seeming to be a problem that's here to stay, getting to pocket some money that may have been spent on unnecessary things feels like a total win. There are better uses for spare cash than items that'll just clutter up our homes. Lower utility bill. If we cut back on the amount of clothing we buy, we'll have less clothing to wash and we'll save on the water bill. And if we don't buy every new tech gadget or countertop kitchen appliance, we'll also use less electricity every month. The benefits to owning a little less are numerous on both the health and wellness side but also the financial side. Set a good example. We all want to teach our kids to be good people, and we can set a great example by living a more minimalist life. Placing less of an emphasis on owning things will teach our kids that items shouldn't consume them. They'll be more likely to share toys at school and they'll be less likely to be greedy at holidays or birthdays. New toys are great, but they shouldn't be all a kid thinks about. We can show them the importance of living simply. Help others. For those of us who are looking to downsize into a more minimalist life, donating is a huge part of that. Get the kids involved so they can see that by getting rid of the excess, we can help families who may be in need as well as reduce our waste for the planet. It's a good way for them to see the impact of their actions. Encourage imagination. If kids have fewer toys to play with or belongings to distract them, they'll be able to rely more on their imagination. There's something so magical about children coming up with games or adventures or stories all by themselves. Perhaps they'll miss their toys at first, but soon they'll be enthralled in their own fictional worlds. It's okay to let kids get a little bored. That's where the true imagination comes out. Cut down on fights. How many times have we argued with our children about cleaning up their bedrooms or playrooms? By eliminating some of the clutter, it will be easier for kids to maintain their spaces, and we'll be able to cut down on fruitless fights. The same goes for communicating with our partners. By having less, We'll argue less about cleaning up and whose turn it is and where things go. Experiences instead of things. Teaching our kids to value things less means we get to teach them that experiences matter more. Maybe we can take some of the extra money we've saved by buying fewer things to go on a fun trip or to a cool museum. At the end of the day, kids remember making memories a lot more than they'll remember playing a video game for several hours in their room. Get outside. With less to do inside, families can take full advantage of the outside. There are so many fun, and often free, ways to engage as a family with nature. Take a hike, have a picnic, or swim at a local lake or beach. Like with all bonding experiences, kids will likely remember these sorts of memories far longer than they'll remember a tangible item. Utilize the space. According to the University of New Mexico, research shows more than half of the garages in the United States can't be used to park vehicles in because they're so full of people's belongings. Decluttering the garage allows families to use it for its intended purpose, keeping the car safe. And having less stuff inside the house also makes it easier to live and play in. Healthier eating habits. A 2016 study of college students found that they were more likely to eat sugar-rich food when their kitchens were messy, according to Good Morning America. Even for people not in college, it's probably a similar story. Who wants to cook a meal if there are dishes everywhere or clutter that doesn't even belong in the kitchen taking up space? Clearing that out makes it easier to make healthier dietary choices. Plus, spending less time organizing belongings gives us more energy to actually cook. Better focus. Good Morning America also reported that a Princeton study from 2011 found that when a space is too cluttered, items literally compete for our attention, making it hard to be productive or to focus. That can be the downside to working from home if the home is filled with too many things. Having less promotes productivity. Better sleep. According to Sleep.com, research from the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that sleeping in a cluttered space is more difficult. If a bedroom is filled with things, it can make us anxious or encourage us to focus on what still needs to be done when we should be getting rest. A clean, tidy room promotes better sleep, and we could all use that. Manageable chores. With fewer belongings to take care of, cleaning becomes way easier. So easy, in fact, that kids can get in on the action. Instead of needing to spend an entire day, or days, organizing a huge mess that's been building up, simple chores and regular tidying can be executed by kids and parents in a matter of minutes. Learn boundaries. It's important for our kids to learn all types of boundaries. When it comes to stuff in the house, one boundary is that things have a place and they stay in that place. Decluttering the excess makes it easier to keep children's belongings in designated areas so our whole house doesn't become a playroom filled with toys. Quality family time. When there's less to maintain and chores also take less time, there's more time for family bonding. Instead of mom or dad spending a weekend preoccupied with cleaning out the garage or attic, weekends can be spent playing games, going to the park, and just generally hanging out together. That's a more valuable way to spend our lives rather than being consumed with clutter. Mom of 2 and breast cancer thriver Margaret Ellenes on her fight and appreciation for life. We all fear the C word. It's rare to take a moment to reflect on our lives when we are busy with kids' schedules, work meetings, and meal plans. It's hard to stop and appreciate our health, that is, until something goes wrong. When Margaret Ellenes was first diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, she was devastated. It was hard for her to look at her 2.5-year-old son. She had a mindset that if she wasn't going to survive it, she didn't want him to live with the heartbreak of missing her. But then she decided to fight. Her diagnosis inspired her mission to help parents and children improve their health, so she started a company to do that. She co-founded Oh My Goodness with her sister, Nina. Oh My Goodness is a modern indoor play space and organic cafe that currently has 2 locations. The company creates opportunities for families to join in on making healthy fun for everyone. Breast cancer survival journey is simply how you'd think it is. At the end of the day, I am a mom and I'm a business owner and I have cancer. Every day is just about surviving. At the end of the day, it's beautiful that I get to say that I did, shared Margaret. She squeezes her treatments into her daily routine. Margaret talked about how her condition has impacted her managing a business and caring for her family. She explained that doing everything is harder. If you could imagine any mom complaining about bedtime or breakfast, reading the kids a book at night, or screen time, try to squeeze in at least 5 hours of treatment a day into that, as well as operating 2 store locations. Get it done, that's all. And if I could do it with a smile, then that's great too, said Margaret. She shared her best memory of when she was interviewed for a super popular newspaper while doing an ozone enema. She remembered the nurses laughing so hard. Margaret has an incredible sister and family support. Margaret knows she's fortunate to have a huge support team. She shared that the manager at one of her play centers is amazing and the kindest human possible. She's eternally grateful for her husband and parents who stepped up to be her real-life superheroes. Most importantly, she talked about how she couldn't possibly live without her sister, Nina, the other co-founder of Oh My Goodness. Thankfully, I have a sister who makes life for me so much easier. We are able to watch our goals come to fruition all while I'm healing at home. She puts the sweat in so that I can heal, and she continues to do so every day, explained Margaret. How does she manage her health needs while running a business and staying present for her family? Most people believe that surviving cancer means your life goes back to normal. However, Dr. Amy Morris, PharmD, cancer recovery expert and cancer survivor, explained that one of the biggest misconceptions people have about cancer survival is that when cancer ends, treatment ends. The side effects of cancer and cancer treatment are long-lasting. Even if you're no longer on active treatment, the side effects can last weeks, months, years, or even indefinitely, unless you do actively something to correct those side effects. For many types of cancer, most commonly breast cancer, treatment lasts 5 to 10 years or even indefinitely. So you might be on treatment that will change your body's hormone levels or chemistry to help prevent cancer recurrence long-term, said Dr. Amy Morris. Margaret talked about how she balances the demands of her health while running a business and being a mom. She said that she does not believe in work-life balance if you are self-employed because your work is your life. Adding cancer to the juggling act adds one more obstacle. But Margaret says she is a mom first. If her kids are sick, she's there. If they had performances, she wouldn't miss them. I fight hard every day. I fight hard to be a good mom, apologizing when I need to fight hard to illuminate this cancer holistically, and I fight to grow my business so that children end up healthier, stronger, and wiser than I ever was. As many times as I wish the cancer would go away, I wouldn't take this part of my life away. This journey has shaped who I am, and it's really shown me the potential that the future has for me. It makes me appreciate every day. It makes me more conscious about life. That's a gift, shares Margaret. Margaret shares her advice for other moms facing health challenges. For moms who may be facing health challenges, here's what Margaret had to say about juggling the responsibility of motherhood and career. If you have today, you have the world. This is my favorite line. I don't know who's ever said it or if I made it up myself, but if you wake up in the morning and you have your health, even if it's just for today, you have just that today. You have a list of endless possibilities, in ways in which you could both improve, heal, smile, laugh, and love, said Margaret. Margaret still has a lot of goals. When Margaret looks to the future, she sees numerous opportunities. First, she wants to make sure she's there for her kids, seeing them graduate high school and go on their first dates. But most importantly, she visualizes herself in a home with wide-open windows overlooking natural scenery. She's content, happy, and proud of what she worked to create. Every goal that we set to achieve has been or is being done. The possibilities for where my business can go are endless based on the foundation we created. I pray for the health of my family and loved ones because I had to learn the hard way that the greatest wealth of all is health, shared Margaret. Mom of 9 says there's no excuse not to have a spotless house and spends hours a day cleaning. We've all seen that mom at drop-off who always has it all together. She always comes in wearing outfits, not PJs like, some parents, her kids' hair is always brushed, and you just know her home is spotless. Although some people might call this witchcraft, others might want to take a look at a mom from the United Kingdom, who recently shared that she spends 6 hours a day cleaning up after her 9 kids. Mom Louise opened up her house to camera crews while filming an episode of Obsessive-Compulsive Cleaners. The British show pairs real people who love to clean with people who are decidedly not into cleaning and documents the ensuing chaos. In a clip shared on YouTube in 2020 that's recently bubbled up again, the 33-year-old mom from Lincolnshire, England, immediately declared that she hates dust. The video shows her wiping every surface and edge of her home and then cuts back to Louise who mused, "Dust doesn't defeat me because I'm always polishing." The mom spends about 6 hours a day cleaning her 7-bedroom home. That's almost the same amount of time her kids probably spend at school. Cleaning has to be done, all day, every day, she explained. Even with a big family, there's no excuse. Louise said all 9 of her children know how to behave in the house. They know the house has to be kept clean at all times, she shared. The video showed all 9 of her children taking off their shoes when they walked through the front door and carefully placing them on the appropriate shelf. She even turned one of the bedrooms in her home into a walk-in closet just so she could keep all of her kids' clothes in order. "No one is allowed in here, only me," she said in the clip. "I just think it's a lot nicer when things are kept tidy." The mom did share a hot cleaning tip, too: vinegar diluted with a bit of water to keep windows streak-free. The mom has not officially been diagnosed with OCD. But her need to keep things clean means that she's created a whole bunch of rules to keep her home in order. "I just won't cook burgers in the house," she said. "I hate the smell of stinky fat and it lingers all around your house for days afterwards." She also admitted to using her kids' things as instruments in her cleaning, if necessary, and demonstrated using a small plastic fork wrapped in a baby wipe to get into the nooks of her microwave. Louise said even with her large family, she always finds the time to keep things spotless. "I easily do it. I keep it spotless. So I just don't understand why other people can't do the same. I want people to know there's always time and there's never an excuse not to clean," she said. Although Louise seems to have this whole spend 6 hours per day cleaning thing down pat, not everyone online agreed with her message. Some people pointed out that they couldn't clean for 6 hours a day because they were, working. Nowhere in that story does it mention her having any kind of job other than her parenting and cleaning duties. "Throw her into a full-time job, and see if she thinks there's no excuses," wrote one person on Facebook. So many reasons for things to not always be perfectly clean: work, self-care time, spending time with your kids instead of doing the dishes right away, sleep, mental health issues, disabilities, injuries, illness, spending time with friends and family, etc., another commenter pointed out. Please can someone hold my coffee while I email my boss quickly that I need to spend 6 hours a day to clean the house. I'm sure they won't mind me doing this and still pay me a full salary so I can pay rent on my sparkly clean house. Great, can I have my coffee back now, thanks, a third commenter joked. Other people agreed with Louise, there's always time to pick up after yourself. Cleanliness is a great thing to teach your kids, wrote one commenter. It teaches responsibility, hygiene, and respect. Things that are lacking these days. Well done. I agree with her. No excuse not to have a clean home. 6 hours a day is excessive though, so she clearly has OCD, another person chimed in. Although a third commenter agreed that they'd rather spend their time doing other things than cleaning, if that improves her life, all the power to her. It's a sentiment that I think we can all agree on.